If you're a parent of a baby, a newborn, a 3 or 6 month old baby, you might have questions about books, about what kind of books should I read to my baby, when should I start reading to my baby, and how can I read to my baby to make sure that he's actually listening and understanding. Now, very recently on social media, there were a lot of comments and remarks about Meghan Markle, who read a book to little Archie for his first birthday. Now, I'd like to start off by saying that any mom who has the courage to put a 1-year-old on her lap and trying to read a book to him actually deserves a lot of praise, and she scores a lot of points in my book. And she did a really great job. She's an actress, so she's got a very animated voice, and she was making the book fun, and she was trying to keep him occupied, and she did a very good job doing that. But the one thing that I'd like to underline with this video is a crucial point when reading to your baby or to your child of any age is choosing the right book in the first place. And the book that she was reading, Duck Rabbit, is actually a very cute and very creative book, but it's a little abstract for a 1-year-old. And especially if you take a 1-year-old's limited concentration span into consideration, you're going to have a really hard time keeping him interested if the pictures are really abstract. So I'd like to give you a few tips on how to choose a book and make sure that your baby is actually going to stay occupied for as long as possible. And the tips I use, what I call the BRICS analogy, B-R-I-C-S. And the BRICS, the B stands for the pictures of the book must be really bright and colorful and realistic. If you can find books with photographs of real people or real animals, that's even better. So the more bright and the more realistic the pictures can be, the better for a baby. The R stands for books with lots of repetition, rhyme and rhythm. So if you can find a book with simple little rhymes, and I'm going to show you examples just now, and a book with lots of repetition. Now, a book like Duck Rabbit actually has a lot of repetition, which is good, but like I've said, the pictures might be a little bit abstract for a 1-year-old. And then the I stands for interactive. For a baby, you need a book that's really interactive. So look out for the books with a bit of texture in it, or the lift and flap type of book. And I've got one here that's a Track Me Back book, where you actually have the little aeroplane that the baby can take out, and he can actually watch the aeroplane fly while you read the book. So that's a nice way of keeping your baby interested. And then the C is colorful pictures. So more color, the more nice and bright colors, the better. And then the S stands for simple language. So it's important for a baby, and we're talking about 0 to 1-year-old babies, 0 to 18 months, to choose books with simple language and not necessarily only single words. I know those books are really popular for babies with single objects, but they tend to be really boring. And what happens is parents just tend to point at the picture and say table, say doll, say ball, and there's no real interaction with you and your baby. So look out for a book with simple language, and by simple I mean something like this. This is a book called Busy Bee, and you'll see it's got a very simple picture in the front, but it's nice and bright. And then the language is something like Ladybird enjoys the sunshine. So simple pictures, nice bright colorful pictures, but the language is simple enough, short sentences, and something that you can maybe repeat. So if you read to your baby, if you chose the right book using the BRICS analogy, the other thing that you might want to keep in mind is the 4S strategy. And I've borrowed that from Pepper and Weitzman from the Hannon organization. They recommend that if you read to your baby, you remember the 4 S's. Say less, stress, go slow, and show. Okay, and by say less, it means You can change the words of the book. If you've got a book with nice bright pictures and your baby is interested, change the wording, simplify the language, skip some of the pages if you see that you're losing him. The most important part is that your baby stays engaged in the book. Stress, so if there's some of the words that your baby is familiar with, you want to repeat that by stressing the words. So say, for example, there's an aeroplane, and the aeroplane zooms up, up, up in the sky. So by stressing the word up, you know that your baby understands up, and now we can see the way that the aeroplane is actually flying up into the sky. So stress, go slow, that's really important as well. Don't rush through the book. Watch your baby. If your baby is looking at a specific picture, talk about that picture. And last but not least, show. So babies like to point. So point to certain pictures, and especially if there's something in the book that is familiar with, like a dog, a familiar pet, maybe a picture of a bird or a tree. Show the picture and emphasize that picture. Make sure to visit my website, Linking Language and Literacy. And on the website there's a page called the Reading Corner, where you'll find lots of book recommendations and book reviews for different ages and stages, and also some of my own books that you can download and enjoy with your baby.